Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back once again to Gran Turismo 7. Now there's something that keeps popping up in the last few months in terms of my comment section, and that's actually talking about custom race payouts and the economy as a whole. Now I actually made this video all the way back in December of 2022, and I thought I'd go back and go through the latest events and just check everything in general to see if anything's actually changed in terms of the economy and custom race payouts within GT7. Now I think we all know when GT7 released, I think polyphony was kind of banking on microtransactions being a lot more, prevalent than they actually ended up being. I honestly think microtransactions in GT7 were a complete failure, considering, you know, the most amount you can buy is £17 worth and it only gives you 2 million credits, and well, for an hour and 20 minutes of your time you can go and get exactly that much. It just made zero sense to actually spend that much money on the microtransactions. Maybe if there was kind of scaled a bit better, the likes of 20 million or so costing £15, or if you want to go upwards of 30 to 50 million costing, you know, upwards of let's say £40 and such, then yeah, okay, maybe it would make more sense and it would be more worthwhile for players to do. I read an article when the game first released that within their first week they completely missed the mark with microtransactions, and the backlash was just absolutely severe, which it was. I was kind of around everywhere seeing everybody complain about it, and to be honest, the overall economy was in a much worse way than it is now. And whilst they did go back to the drawing board and essentially revamp the economy back then, you know, the fact that we've only had 4 grinding events in the entire life cycle of GT7 is, well, absolutely terrible. And I think that's where the argument from a lot of people comes in, that if, look, polyphony aren't going to do it, all they need to do is just update the economy as a whole, bring it more in line with each other, and allow us to get paid out properly for our own custom races. And that's what I'm going to look at today to see if that's changed over time, or at least over the last 7 to 8 months. The first thing I'm actually going to do is boot up a few different events. I'm going to use a low paying example first. So they've got a free lap at Blue Moon Speedway. As you can see, it's a typical oval. There'll be no tie wear or anything like that. As you can see, 10,000 flat credit rate with a 5,000 bonus for clean race bonus, which is obviously 50%. And I'm going to try and set the custom race settings to be pretty much in line with what you get within this event. So we don't need to worry about the likes of tire wear, and although the likes of difficulty does adjust the payout within custom races in comparison to, you know, polyphony created events, then it just doesn't make too much of a big difference. And as you can see, once we've got everything set on with the likes of penalties and, you know, realistically what the settings would be in terms of, you know, taking it over to a custom race, and although we don't have the customization we do for the likes of multiplayer lobbies, as you can see, the payout for this one is 1,191 credits in comparison to 10,000 credits flat rate for this event done by polyphony themselves. Next up, I'm going to use one of the more recent events in terms of longer events, which is the Road Atlanta 30 minutes, an event that pays too little anyway and should be more in line with Le Mans. As you can see, 320,000 credits flat rate. With a bonus, you're looking up just under around about 500,000 credits for 30 minutes of your time, which is not really worth it considering Le Mans does the exact same thing but pays out 825k with a clean race. Now, as you can see, we're just going to have a look at the settings. 12 fuel, 11 tyre, 20 cars, all kind of group 1 and such. BOP is off and that, so we don't need to bother with that. So we're going to head into custom race, pick the same track, set it to endurance and set the timer to 30 minutes. 20 cars, which is the maximum, and that's what we have in this event. Put ourselves at the back like polyphony actually do on a rolling start. Real slipstream. I'm going to leave mechanical damage in that off. We're going to pop the tire rate up, and we're going to pop the fuel rate up. It's probably a little bit off, but it doesn't matter too much. Increase the fuel rate just to be more in line with what you'd actually see in that event. In terms of weather, there's actually no event in this. There is a bit of a variable time, so I'm going to pop that up a little bit. In terms of my rival selection, I'm going to select by car category and leave it at group 1. I'm going to leave it on normal difficulty, which is what most people would realistically be running the, standard event in. In terms of the penalties, I'll pop them all on, and as you can see, we end up with 37,395 credits for 30 minutes of a time, with it just going up to about 40,000 for putting it on the highest difficulty. it is just not worth it. And in comparison to the actual payout of that event, it's just really, really poor. Now let's use probably the most famous event of them all, the World Touring Car 700, which takes place at Le Mans and can essentially use any car going for, you know, grinding this event. It's 825k in around about 30 minutes of your time, exact pretty much, or usually a little bit over if you don't do the stop and wait method. So we'll put the time limit on 30 minutes, 20 cars, which is the exact same, rolling start, put ourselves at the back. Tyre here, we'll put it more in line with what you'd see in the event. Same with fuel. And then if we just kind of go down a little bit, we'll put the fuel refueling speed up a little bit. In terms of weather, now this does actually change through this event. So I'll leave it at afternoon, put a bit of a variable time limit on it, and we'll start it out as sunny before going into more wet conditions, which is what typically happens at this event. You'll get around about 2 laps before you get rain, and then we'll start drying it out after a bit of rain. So we'll put lighter rain, heavier rain, more into sunshine. Sometimes you get a bit of rain at the end, but you know, it's not usually as common, so we'll just put that at sunny as well. Rival selection, now it's mainly group 4, so we'll pop that at group 4, and then we'll put all the penalties on. So we'll have the likes of the shortcut penalty, time penalties, pit lane cutting, hitting vehicles, and all that good stuff. So we'll pop all of that on, and then we'll just have a quick dip into this bit here. And as you can see, it's 26,332 credits on intermediate, so normal difficulty. As you can see, professional only pays 29,754 credits for 30 minutes of your time. It's absolutely pathetic. Now, in terms of an economy revamp, this is where it will make sense. This event really annoys me. This is a 2-lap run around the Nordschleife, takes around about 20 minutes, and it's 25,000 credits without a clean race bonus. This is one of the, I guess, shorter events, takes around 5 minutes, and a 4-wheel drive car, which you can essentially use any 4-wheel drive car, and pays out more. With a clean race bonus, you're looking at 60,000 credits for one and around about 30,000 odd for the second. It again just makes 0 sense to how the economy works within this game. And again, if you go through some of the 10-lap events, you know, they'll take around about 20 minutes, but you know, they'll pay out 100,000 credits, whereas a 5-lap sprint in a hypercar might take you around about, let's say, 8 to 10 minutes, and it'll pay out 90,000 credits. It's just really, really random, and it just makes 0 sense. So as you can see, the custom race payouts certainly haven't changed, and they're still as terrible as ever. As well as the economy as a whole, it's just kind of being a bit of a mixed match of whatever the hell Polyphony feel like doing on the day. It just makes no sense. There's 0 structure to it, and all they need to do is not only bring a flat rate in and kind of balance the economy over a flat rate, so everything's more on par, and you know, everything's, I guess, equal. So if I do 10 laps at, let's say, I don't know, Fuji, it should be on par with doing 10 laps at Suzuka, and maybe add a bit more for weather and such, bit more for difficulty. Again, give us incentives to actually play these events. And that's one of the things that Kaz really kind of pushed for GT7, considering he said this was a return to the numbered GT titles. So GT7 was supposed to be in line with the likes of GT6, GT5 and such, whereas Sport was more of a spin-off. So, you know, a lot of people that play this game are here mainly just for the single player stuff, because they missed Sport, because that was mainly esports driven and such, although it did have, you know, single player added post launch. Again, he doesn't want people grinding the same events over and over again, but we essentially end up with 4 events only that we can realistically grind out to make any realistic money, considering all of the cars have had their prices bumped up to a ridiculous amount, and it does, you know, alter depending on when the car's in, and you know, real world value and all that kind of good stuff or whatever. But again, what is the point when the economy just takes so long to grind out? Nobody realistically wants to spend 5 hours of their time grinding the exact same events over and over again for one single car. And all they need to do is change the custom race payout and get a proper economy on the go that makes sense all the way across the board, whether that be a Polyphony created event or a custom race created by the player. Again, if they change the payout of custom races, the replayability is there, people aren't grinding the same events over and over again, and there's more incentive for people to keep coming back to this game once new cars are added. We can cater that race or these races at any track we wish to be catering for these new cars, and people are coming back for more than a couple of hours at a time or a couple of days at most before leaving and waiting a whole month again. It would massively change up the game, it would massively make it more replayable, and in all honesty, I don't get why Polyphony are not doing it at this point. They can't say this is a return to the classic Gran Turismo titles, but then have the economy so messed up and just nonsensical that those players have either already moved on or are on the verge of moving on at this point, considering Polyphony seem to refuse to actually add anything else worthwhile to get us playing this game again and getting us grinding new events. And I can quite easily see people's frustrations as well. You know, there's a lot of tracks in this game. There's a lot of different layouts to the tracks. So why are so many being completely left unused? And we're kind of expected to make custom races for them, but they're just not worth our time. Nobody wants to race 30 minutes, take all of that time out of their day to be paid nothing and feel like they've then got to go back and run the same 4 events over and over and over again until they can possibly get a car that they might want, which could cost in excess of 20 million credits. It's just absolutely bizarre, and no, the situation has not changed any, in any recent times. There's still a lack of actual events to give us stuff to do, and the replayability is not there. And this one single change could massively change the single player portion of Gran Turismo 7. So to those who have been going into the comments section saying that it's a good idea, especially in the last few months, although I've covered this previously, it does seem that yes, it's still much a very good idea, because Polyphony has done absolutely nothing to address this and nothing to really cater towards the players that just want that single player experience for the longest time. So that's going to be it from me. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and stay up to date with everything GT7 and Gran Turismo related. I will see you all in the next one. Have a fantastic day, guys. Peace.